Okay, we're going to run through another substitution example to solve this system of equations. Remember that a system of equations is just two or more equations. And here we have two, and we're going to be solving for x and y. So, one of the ways we can do that is by using the method of substitution. There are other ways, but this is one way. And on the left, you can see of the screen, I've written out 5 steps for you to follow along as we solve this system of equations. So let's get started. The first step says get a variable all alone. Now we look at these equations and there are 4 places where I can see variables. I can see a variable here, I see a y, here I see an x, here I see a y, and here I see an x. So, out of these 4 places where variables appear, I need to ask myself, which is the easiest to get all by itself, to get all alone? And I can see that this x right here is just asking to be all alone, because it doesn't have anything multiplied by it. So in this case, this is going to be the easiest variable to get all alone, this x here in the second equation. So let's work on that. So, in this second equation, I'll copy it down in a nice red color. We'll have 4y plus x equals 11. And remember, we're solving for x here. So, all I need to do is subtract 4y on both sides. Then I'll get that x equals 11 minus 4y. Remember, we can't combine the 11 and the minus 4y because they're not like terms. So they just end up like this. Okay, now I'm going to take this piece and follow the second step that says plug what it's equal to into the other equation. So we got the variable alone and we learned that it's equal to 11 minus 4y. So I'm going to take this and I have to plug it into the other equation. Well, we used the second equation, so the other equation in this case will be the first equation. So I'll plug it all the way over here into x. Let's do that below. And we're going to do that in a nice blue color. So here, I'm going to copy the first equation, but wherever there's an x, I'll replace it with this 11 minus 4y. So we get 2y plus 11 times 11 minus 4y equals negative 5. Alright, now we have an equation with only one variable in it. This is great news. We know how to solve equations with only one variable. They're much easier to deal with. Okay, now let's move to a green color as we move forward and distribute. That's the next thing we need to do. There's parentheses, and I like to make sure that we get rid of those parentheses. We can do that by dealing with the 11 that's sitting outside of them. This 11 here. We can distribute it inside and then take the parentheses off. But we have to make sure that it goes to both places. Notice that I didn't just write one arc from the 11 to the 11 inside, but that I wrote a second one also from the 11 to the negative 4y. So, we've distributed correctly. Let's copy it down and see what we get. 2y plus 11 times 11 is 121, in case you forgot your times tables. And then 11 times negative 4y gives me negative 44y. And this is equal to negative 5. Nothing changed on the right side of the equation. The next step is to combine the like terms. So, I can see that there are 2 y's here, and there are negative 44 of them over here. So let's put them together and get that. Together we have negative 42y. So, negative 42y plus 121 is equal to negative 5. we're into step 3 now, aren't we? I didn't point that out, but now we're solving the equation, okay? So, we're getting y by itself, so here we'll subtract 121 from both sides, and I get that negative 42y is equal to negative 126. If I divide both sides now by negative 42, I get that, I'm going to have to copy it up here, y is equal to 3. Because, I don't know if you know it, but negative 126 divided by negative 42, down here, is equal to positive 3. I made up the problem, so I knew that y was 3. So that's why I was able to do that division so fast. Okay, now we're on to step number 4. So we've got half of our answer, right? But we've done more than half of the work. Rest assured. We have what y equals, now we just need what x equals. So on to step number 4, it says plug answer in for either x or y into either one of the equations. Well, obviously we're going to be plugging in for y here because we have y equals 3. If it said x equaled 3, then we would plug in for x. I had to put x or y because I wasn't sure when I was making the general list which variable you would solve for first. So in our case it's y. So let's take it and let's plug it in here to this second equation. We'll take the 3 and put it in for the y. And now let's go ahead and move to an orange color. So we'll have 4y. Oops, I just said we're plugging in 3 for y. So instead of y, I'm putting a 3 plus x equals 11. Now this is the same as 12 plus x equals 11. I subtract 12 on both sides, and I find that x is equal to negative 1. So I jump to that last step as well, solving for the last variable, 5. So here's my answer for x. Up above here is my answer for y. And if I want to write that as a coordinate form, I can do that like this. I can write the x comes first, negative 1, comma, and then my y answer is 3. So I could just write my answer like that if I wanted. There you have it. That's a nice example of substitution with the steps laid out. I suggest watching this video again if it was a little confusing or if I moved fast, and I think it'll help you out. Thanks.